Welcome back. It is great to have you with us on to the final bell, brought to you by Lake Imaging. Domsy's taken over the podcast. He has demanded that we just get Assumption Boys now on for a chat. But as promised, the legend is Billy Brownless, one of the greats of the Cats. Been in the media now. I was trying to work this out. So you retired 95?
Got sacked, but yeah. But I say retired. It was about 97, I reckon
97,
it was. Yeah.
And then straight into the media?
Well, initially he was looking at a career in politics, though, Bill.
Oh, yes, thank you, Domsy. Good work, well done. No, I worked here at the footy club.
Oh, yeah?
So we worked here and had some fun there for a year, but all of a sudden you go... Oh, we might have been on, what was I on back then, 100 grand or something, Linger, and then went to about 40 grand working here. So that was interesting times. But I enjoyed it working there and then slowly got into the media from that. And I don't know how I got on. The footy show was the one, I suppose, and that used to be big back then.
The footy show when you were on it then was a monster.
Yeah, it was. And I slowly got on there and there was no one else from Geelong at that time that could really talk. Like Bazza couldn't talk, Buddha couldn't talk, Gazza wouldn't talk. So I got the gig and it was good fun, enjoyable. Go up there and you used to see blokes you played against and things like that because, you know, when we played back in the day, you never had early days you had a drink where both clubs had to go back and have a drink and it was good fun.
And in the old social club.
Yeah. And even the umpires had come along and you'd talk to them and you go, oh, geez, they are human, you know. So I reckon that was really good. Anyway, they cut all that out. And then I was going up and on the panel, you'd talk to these blokes that you played against. Because when we were playing down here, you never saw any of the other players or anything like that. So good fun, and that started a long time ago. It was good for me.
So with that, Bill, were you always like the role you've gone on to play and like no other footballer even gets near you, or ex-footballer can get near what you do, and you've done it so well. Is that always been you?
Yeah.
Off the field?
I think so, and I was a bit quieter, I must admit, when I was playing for the Cats. You're a bit quieter and don't want to do too much because back then, I could just see Gary Ayres looking at me or Malcolm Blight if you had a story in the Herald Sun or it was in the Addy or something like that. They'd look at you and go, geez, you want to play well.
Yeah, you'd want to get a kick, son.
Yeah, exactly. You want to get a kick. So but I used to have fun. I used to love, especially under Blighty, you'd have a lot of fun with him and things like that. So I'd have a bit of fun back then. But, yeah, you just got on the show and, people say, do you play that role? It's just me, really.
It's you,
having fun. And that's the main thing I think you find out in footy or life or whatever it is, especially on TV. You be yourself because you get found out.
Yeah,
Eventually you get found out and things like that. And the other thing, you know your spot.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to host a show because it's bloody hard hosting a show. There's only really good blokes that can host. James Brayshaw's a good host because he gets the best. He realises he gets the best out of all the other blokes, or Anthony Hudson or whoever the good hosts are. They're very good at what they do. But you got to know your spot. I know I'm second or third banana, and I'm happy to play that role.
Yeah.
Prefer radio or TV or a bit of both?
I love the TV because that was live, and the radio is too, by the way. But the footy show stuff, that was live, and you'd walk out there and you had Sam, who's love him or hate him. I love working with him, and I still remember producers before the show coming up and saying, Sam, we want you to do this. And Sam would say, now is it going to be good for the show? And they'd say, we think it will be. He goes, okay, let's do it. And things like that. So he was a team player. So you walk out with Sam, Shane Crawford, you weren't sure another Assumption boy, weren't sure what he was going to do. So that live television, anything could happen.
That idea, the question Domsy just asked about you, were you playing a role?
Yeah.
Sam, I often get asked that. What's Sam like? Is he really like that, or does he play that role? Yeah. My answer was through my experiences in the footy show, and I only sort of had a brief bit on the footy show, was that Sam would often turn it on and would play it up for the good of the show. There was one time, 2006, where it wasn't a great year for the Cats and there was high expectations. Sam wandered over to me in an ad break. And he said, I'm gonna go at the Cats. Yeah. I'm gonna go at you. Yeah. He goes, and I want you to rip me back.
Yeah,
he goes, I want you to go real hard back at me and make sure that Cats people see you standing up for the Cats. And I fired back hard, and I got lots of accolades. Yeah, good on you, sticking up for Sammy. He shouldn't be attacking the Cats. But it was all put on because Sam loves the Geelong Football Club and loved the Cats. So some of that does go on behind the scenes, doesn't it? But it's a really smart person that to be able to do that like Sam does it.
Well, exactly, and he is a very smart person. You know, if you talk to him, he's got all the words. He knows. He's well educated out of the grammar, so he's a very smart person. But also, he loves the Cats, and he used to talk to me and go, "Bill, I just get so mad with him and all that." But to do stuff like that shows him he does love. He bought the team of the century. I remember we had the big dinner there. It's like $60,000 or $70,000, and donated it back. And it's here. Club. It's at the club. Yeah, it's back at the club. So you're right, but. Believe it or not, he's quite shy, Sam. You know, you're right. The button goes on, and then that's him, and then the button will go off. And I've done nights with him where we'll go to a country footy club. He'll sit out in the car, and he says, "Just come and get me when I'm on," you know. And I'd go in there and do all that because he doesn't want to talk to the people and all that. And then he'll just come on and do his stuff. But he, believe it or not, quite shy is the old fossil. But no, a good fella and does love the Cats.
Now, getting back to you as a player, Bills, we know you as the lovable larrikin and loves to have a bit of a joke and a frothy.
Yeah.
Tell us about Billy Brownless, the player, and what you kicked 441 goals, almost 200 games, all Australian. Tell us about you as a player. What was your
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I was all right. I had Assumption, you know. Kicked 155 in my year 12 years, so didn't pass school or anything. Domsy, that's how we used to get past, didn't we?
Right.
How many goals you kicked? What did you kick?
Ray got us through.
Did you kick 100?
No, didn't quite kick 100. I think 60 or 70.
Oh, that all?
We played a few less games.
Yeah, no, we played some interesting little towns and things and schools. So, no, I had a good year there. And they were the zoning days back there. We were zoned to Geelong because I was from Jerilderie. So, but I wanted to go home for a year, so I went home just to be with mum and dad. And, you know, I was the oldest of the family, so I just wanted to go back and see, I suppose, my brothers and sister. So I went back there, played at Jerilderie for a year, and I was only, 17, 18, or skinny. And that's a pretty tough comp against Finley and all these big, you know, the Jacksons and the Hawkins at Finley and things like that. So I remember going back, and after 9 games at Jerilderie in the seniors, I'd kicked 99 goals. Yeah, right. And I wasn't getting paid. You know, I was mum and dad had the local news agents, so you know, they love that. The locals love that. So I kicked 100 goals there and had a really good year. We got beaten in the grand final, and then finally came down to Geelong, but. So those early years I could jump. And
so you got drafted off the back of that year?
Zoned.
So Bill McMaster went up and watched you. You obviously watched a bit of Assumption, then went up.
He watched at Assumption, and then I remember he come down and we played Cobram. Cobram had won Steve Hocking and Buddha Hocking from Cobram, and I think they'd won about 30 games in a row. It was a bit of a record, and they had this roll going, and they played at Jerilderie, which is, and I kicked 14 that day, and we won. And I still remember our president, Jeff Ham, coming out with a slab on his shoulder, the Jerilderie president, and the siren hadn't even gone. It was going to go, but he ran out in the wing, and he was that excited. He's handing out cans before the siren went. Anyway, we beat Cobram, and I think even Johnny Barnes might have been playing back then.
Yeah, right.
And he came and saw that. So I suppose I was always going to Geelong and come down here. And John Devine had just been appointed coach, and Mark Jackson was still here. Played Jacko. 2 games with Jacko, and then John Devine got rid of him. So, and then I was kind of playing full forward from there, and. Yeah, but Ablett was on the half-forward flank then, Gary, and it wasn't a bad... Paul Couch was on the other half-forward flank. So
when you first started under John Devine, did you sense some of the guys around you were something special that was going to lead to those incredible 1989 and then the 90s teams? Like you mentioned Couch already, but Ablett Senior, then Bairstow and Hocking and Stoneham and all of these incredible players. Did you sense, though, when they were young guys like you that... Oh, hang on, I'm playing with some guys here who are pretty special.
Well, yeah, certainly Couchy, because he just come down from Boggy Creek, you know, and he was a chubby little left footer, played on the flank, and he'd always kick 2 or 3 goals, you know, and just kick them. And then you had Buddha Hocking, who'd come down a couple of years later, maybe 1 or 2 years later, but he used to be a bit of a rat bag, Buddha, and they sent him back home. Said no.
Cobram.
Yeah, and then of course Stephen was here, so you're playing with him. Bairstow wasn't here yet; he was on his way. They got him from over in WA. Barry Stoneham, who just lived one torpedo from here,
and Barry Stoneham was always a freak athlete, and that wasn't
runner. Yeah, always an unbelievable athlete and great runner, and you know,
He had 1 year that was as good
mate.
as Carey's. What year was that? 96?
whatever it was.
would
No,
have
it's a
been
bit
earlier.
earlier. Yeah, 94. Well, he broke his leg there for 2 years.
Yep.
And Barry being just wanted to play, come back too early and just stuffed it up. But let me tell you, he played at centre forward when he was a kid. He'd play on Djakovic. He'd have the better of Djakovic. Djakovic was a superstar at the time. But then when we're in trouble, I remember one final, he had to go back and play at full-back on Plugger Lockett, you know, and stopped him. Then they play him on the wing sometime. He's like Blixarves, actually. Play him on the wing because he was such a good athlete. And then when he broke his leg, he was playing ruck for the Cats, you know. And he was a lot like Blixarves, but he grew up playing footy, Baz, and he was a genuine superstar, as was Buddha Hocking. We were just talking about him before, but what a player he was, mate.
Unbelievable.
So we had these kids coming through,
And how would you go in today's game, Bill?
Ooh, I don't know. It's too athletic for me, I think. I actually, early days I could
No, I was
run
going to
and-
say, Bill, that's you talking
I
like
know.
you're now.
Yeah.
You were super athletic and I think you would have fitted in
Yeah,
quite well.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because you were what 196, 6'5", what is 92 or 3 kilos?
Well, yes, that slowly went up over the years.
Were
but
you actually a good runner back in the day?
It wasn't bad. I used to,
really?
it wasn't bad at Assumption and won the high jump. I still remember I won the high jump for Assumption, and we went to Olympic Park.
What'd you jump?
About nearly 2 metres. It was 196 or something.
2 metres.
And guess who was Steve Silvani won for Marsland, and we're at Olympic Park, and you just go back on the side and 10 paces and get there.
Frosby flop.
Yeah, Frosby flop. I had bare feet on. He had bare feet on, and these superstar high jumpers, they'd 4 metres this way, 3 metres that way. They had spikes, and me and Sos still laugh about that. We come last and second last, but so it wasn't a bad athlete. I don't know. I played a centre back there for a year. I had a good year 1 year, but it was interesting because Ken Hinkley and myself, we weren't we didn't match up too well. We were very attacking players, and poor old Tim McGrath, he had to play on 3 players, and he ate a half.
Can you confirm that Kenny did turn to Timmy McGrath at one stage and say, can you grab my man? I'm off to win the Brownlow. Is that a fact?
I don't know. I certainly more than once said, can you look after my man? I don't know about the Brownlow, but I remember Kenny Hinkley. He come down from, where was it?
Camperdown?
Camperdown, yes, Kenny from Camperdown, of course. And he come down, and early days he was playing in the reserves. And we'd get there early, playing in the seniors, and you'd sit up there just to watch Kenny. What he'd do, he'd take hangers, he'd bounce, he'd weave around blokes. It was just fantastic. We used to call him Purple because he'd have these purple patches, unbelievable. Jesus, good to watch, Kenny.
Good to watch. Good
Should
to
have won
watch.
a Brownlow.
Well, what sort of player currently would have played like you back in the day, Bill? Who would you most look at today and go, he plays a little bit
Tomahawk. No.
This is going to be hard for you to answer. You know what I would answer?
Who would you say?
I don't think you quite have the same peak aerobic. I think a Charlie Curnow type, like really athletic. Don't let perceptions of Billy. I remember super athletic, and in modern footy where you can just all you can do is press up a little bit. You have to do a little bit of work to press up. Yeah. But you get in behind the defence and use your running ability at 6'4", 6'5". I think Billy'd go all right.
Oh, all right, I'll go with that. But it would have been interesting. Like Gary Ablett Senior, how had he gone? Because he wasn't he was so quick off the mark and hurt blokes. He only needed 2 metres and he'd run into them. But he wasn't aerobically fit. Like we'd run those mental miles. I still remember Malcolm Blight. Oh, we loved him as a coach, and we'd walk off, right? So he'd go, righto, boys, well done. That's a great night. Good night training. And we walk off the centre, and we get to the walk in to go into the gym and shower up, and we're home, And we get to about 10 metres from the boundary line. He'd go, boys, 2 minutes to go. Last quarter, what do you reckon we should do? And he called it the mental mile because it's stuff with mate, we're walking off, you dropped your guard, you think you're going to shower up, what are you going to do? So we'd have to sprint, run 2 laps as hard as you could, and you'd take, go, and everyone would take off. Oh, mate, but me and Gaz and there was a couple of Damien Burke were down the back, I was helping them out. But Barry Stoneham would be at the front. Don't worry about that, Bairstow and Stoneham. But they were good days, really good days.
Could you imagine if Gaz Senior got to play like the Dusty Martin type role?
Well, that's what I look at him.
Yeah. He was just so
similar.
strong. And he was built different. I don't know if Junior was. Was Junior hunched and built a bit different?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Not quite as tall as Gary Senior, I don't think, but he
Gaz,
had that low centre of
Gaz
gravity,
or Nath did no weights at all.
No, either at senior.
But they were strong. Like you got out in a one-on-one on the ground and you couldn't move them.
Oh, there's great story. We had these summer camps down at Anglesey and that, and you go down there, and a senior would never do any weights.
No.
And then when they had a medicine ball, you had to pick up a medicine ball and throw it as far as you could, and everyone, throw it, just didn't go far. He got it and went bang, and everyone's going, what?
Yeah.
Like the $6 million man. It just went just stuff like that. Anything indoors, cricket. He would value his wicket. He couldn't get him out. Soccer, he'd kick some of it would have been good to see how far he would have gone in soccer because he loved his
boxing?
soccer. And boxing. Good fight.
He loved his soccer.
Shooting?
And
Shooting. No.
a few of my friends now, they're soccer people, and they talk about the days when they'd play indoor soccer, futsal.
Yeah, futsal.
And Gaz Senior would rock up, and everyone would just be like, what?
Mm.
And the power with which he kicked the ball, the poor goalie would just be cowering.
Exactly.
Going, stop it, please.
He was just so powerful. He needed 1 or 2 metres. Just run into blokes. Well,
Hey, I was one more for me. The four grand finals, Bill.
yeah.
Any regrets with those ones, or what? It was 90. Which one you should have won?
80, well,
Well,
there's always a regrets because you lose them, and you don't have a reunion. You boys do. Because, you won premierships and well done. But when you lose them, you don't have reunions, and you kind of drop away a bit. It's lucky that we live in Geelong and you see the boys a bit around, but you just don't have reunions. It would have been nice to win one. Played in 4, lost 4. So that 89 one, Malcolm Blight just been appointed. We just had this unbelievable year. We're having fun. Training was fun. We're just, how good's this? All of a sudden we're in the finals. Hang on. We're in a grand final. I don't know if it snuck up on us or whatever, but all of a sudden we're running out in the grand final. A lot of us were kids and things like that, and we lost by 6 points. Like it was one of the great games ever. And Yatesy runs into Dermot and all that. There's a bit going on, So that was just one of the great games. We thought, we'll win one surely. We're only kids. And then 92, 94 played the West Coast Eagles. By the way, Hawthorn were a great side during that era. Then we played the West Coast Eagles, they were a state team. There was no Freo. Their team was unbelievable. You go through their team. It was like a state team. Again, too good for us. We think we're a chance. No good. And then, 95 played Carlton. And who was a bloody good side too. So we played some really good sides. And to be honest, we just probably weren't up to it.
Can I float one from my memories as a spectator?
You would,
93 almost felt like the one. I know you didn't play finals that year, but you run home. I think you won the last 5 games, beat 5 teams or 4 teams in the top 5 to give yourselves a chance. That felt like one that was there that you were probably the best team in it.
No, spot on. And I still remember we were going poorly, and about 6 weeks out before the end of the year, Malcolm Blight said, we're going to do pre-season. You blokes and stuff, you blokes. We're doing pre-season. So we started that night, and it was a tougher session 6 weeks out. And then we win. And then so we're still doing pre-season, really. And then we started winning, so you had to back off a bit. And then we had that great run. You're right. I think we beat the top 5 sides, and we were flying. We were flying, and it came down to Collingwood and Adelaide or something over in Adelaide, and we all went out to...
You'd beaten West Coast, I think, to give yourselves a chance. That's and you needed an Adelaide or Collingwood result to go one way, and it went the other way.
And Collingwood had to win, and they were up early, and then Adelaide come back and won. But so that you're right, that was unbelievable. You just get on the roll, mate, and we wouldn't have cared who we played. We would have beaten them. So, no, disappointing. When you look back at it, we all played to win grand finals. It would have been nice to win one.
It feels like this year's team's got something very, very special going on. Bill, what's your take at the moment? This team has been, this club has been incredible, and its ability the system is designed for a team to have its shot at the title and then fall away. It's stayed. It's been top 4. It's played prelims. It's played in a grand final in 2020, but it hasn't won it.
No.
But this year just feels like something else.
No, you're right. There's something there, isn't it? Yeah. And I think it's come from the coach too. I reckon he's changed it up a bit, which is fantastic because coaches can be stubborn. They can be bloody stubborn. And we know coaches, and they get into especially if they've been there for a while, they play their favourite players or they play the senior players. But to play some of the kids this year and for the kids to come on, to Koning and who's the young bloke, Holmes and things like that, those boys, and play good footy. They're playing. But I also love the boys like Close and those ones, the team players that have really...
Tommy Atkins.
He's come from nowhere. Stengel's been good. And then you know what you're going to get with Hawk, who just gets better and better. And even Joel's played some really good I was a bit worried about Joel this year, to be honest, but he's played some great footy. Those older boys, Blitzarves, they've found a spot for him. So I say well done to Scotty, because he's changed it up a bit. He's played the kids. He seems more happier. And you're right, there's something about them this year where they can fall asleep for 40 or 50 minutes, and then they know they can kick 8 goals and just go bang.
And quickly.
And quickly, exactly. So that's what opposition teams worry about. When a team can come out and do that, I reckon it's just been a really good team effort. I'd have no idea who wins the best and fairest at the minute, because there'd be 6 or 7 blokes that could win it. You know, you've got no idea who could win it. And then just see Tommy Atkins and blokes like that have been hanging around for 6 years and been told the nut, you're not going to make it go, and come back, and you love stories like that. So DeConing down back, and just that back six have been pretty good. Busey's just does what he wants, and you can go through every player, and they've all done something. So I just like that. I reckon they're going beautifully. We just worry. We worry about finals and all that, but
this year feels different.
Yeah, it does.
Right,
it's got a different feel to it. And as you said, Bill, it's the bottom 6 players. I think every team you always worry about.
That's it.
But with Geelong at the moment, the bottom 6, everyone's playing their role.
Well, and there's another 4 that.
And the ruckman's always been the Achilles heel with Geelong. Reece has done a great job. Segler's come in, who we spoke about earlier. He's come in and played a great role, and then
Blitzarves
and Blitzarves as well.
And then there's 4 blokes: Menengola, Sammy Simpson, who I reckon there's about 4 or 5 that aren't getting it. You're right. So depth. So no, it's we're loving it. It's good for the local pubs.
Well, you do have a couple of those, the Cremorne and the Como. Magnificent too. Had a feed at the Como only a few weeks back. Actually had a feed at the Cremorne a few weeks as well.
You get in there. You watch the rugby. Good boy.
I do tuck in there. Thank you, Bill. We could reminisce all day with you, but we do have to wind it up. But before we do, the main reason why we wanted to get you in was to talk about the Brownless Stoneham dinner, which is coming up on August 18th, 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock. It's in Melbourne. The Commons Collective, which is in Mowbray Street in Melbourne. It's the Brownless Stoneham group, and you have these dinners throughout the year semi-regularly. It's just a fantastic night of talking footy, socialising, having a laugh. So
give it a plug.
Get everyone along.
So it's going to be before finals, so we'll hopefully get someone, a couple of boys, hopefully from the club, just depending on who's injured or who's available. So we get some players there. Normally Scotty comes along, Steve Hocking will be there, and they give us what's happening at the club and where things are going there. We'll have some good guests this year. It's sponsored by our good friends at CUB. So I'm trying to get John O'Brien. We're trying to get Aaron Finch, your mate, that was trying to talk to Tom Hawker the other. What about that? Come on, Finchy. Any of those boys, we just try and get some of those. I think Luke Hodge too. We're just trying to get a couple of those that have played in finals. They can tell us their experience. But it's good. We get some very good supporters there. They love it. Bazza and myself host it. And it's just a good fun night.
And I have been to one in the past, and they're a terrific night. So grab your ticket, jump on the Cats website to get those. Tickets will go really quickly. There's only about 150 places available. So jump on really quickly. Secure your spot. What will be a terrific night.
Before you go, Bill, I know you put out a list recently about the top 5 cats over the last 20 or so years. How about all-time top 5 cats? Putting you on the spot.
So my list for just the last 20 years, and sorry, boys, but you were thought of, but... probably not Dempsey.
Very briefly.
So it was because of Joel's 350th. So it was Gary Ablett Jr., Joel, Corey Enright, Matty Scarlett, and Jimmy Bartell. Just don't tell Stevie J.
Number 20 will not be happy.
No, he wasn't happy. Not much goes past Stevie J, as you two would know. So that was that. But if you went the last, say, when I played, I got to have Gary Ablett Sr. on top, no doubt about that. Anything. He just could do anything. It was fantastic to watch. So Gary Ablett Sr., you'd have to say Gary Ablett Jr. there. It's Joel.
So senior, junior, Joel.
Corey Enright, Scarlett, they're hard to leave out. But I want to put Buddha Hocking in there. I'm putting Buddha Hocking in there, and then maybe Corey Enright at 5 there. So I've got to have a bit of both. But Buddha Hocking, just love playing with Buddha. What a star he was. Gary Ablett Senior, they're the two from my era, and then
can I?
Yes, you can.
Can I argue?
Yeah, of course you can.
And I don't know. 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't be making this argument, but I think I have to now.
Yes.
The man who's still standing at full forward wearing number 26, Tom Hawkins has kicked, 700 and something?
700 odd goals.
Yeah. Played 300 odd games.
Yes.
He's
given away a lot.
Yes, and has got better since he's turned 30.
Yeah.
He's now in that conversation.
All time that I'm talking about here. So is he in the all-time top 5? Like you
Well,
got Doug Wade, how many? 1,000?
1,000 goals,
Well,
and then you got
700
Polly.
or 800 at Geelong.
Yeah.
Polly, the old boys will tell you Polly all day, every day.
Yep.
But how far do you go back?
Yes,
But you're right, Tomahawk. But then you got Paul Chapman.
Yeah,
What are you? Well, I'm not telling you boys anything. Paul Chapman, Stevie J, to be honest, is in there.
Joel Corey.
Brad Ottens is a classic. Do you put him in?
Well, most valuable,
That's
you'd
right.
be up the top. And this bloke over here.
Yeah, and then of course
in the conversation too.
Linger. You're right. So there's.
Thanks, boys.
Do they ever have anything like that? Have they had a top 20 in your era, or they pick a side or anything?
Newspapers will do it occasionally, like
yeah.
a top 20 since 2000, things like that. But
And Jono would be on that list too. We'll put him in there.
You better put him in. He'll ring you. He'll text you, boys. So. But Paul Chapman, and you're right, Otto. How good was Otto? Big pill. So, no, some good times. Well done, you boys. You
always love catching up with you, Bill. Thank you so much for having a chat. The Brownless Stoneham dinner, August 18th. Get your ticket on via the Cats website. It'll be a terrific night. We've got hopefully a lot more fun to come by the end of this season. Yes. We're all getting a little bit excited about the Cats, but always great to see you, Bill. I will drop in, Domsy and I, I'm sure, at some stage at Cremorne or the Como.
He did say premiership players do get free beers at both his pubs one time on the radio, so we hold him to that.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he did.
David Wojcinski hasn't forgotten about that. He doesn't like pain, does he? And I tell you who else
He's the closest too.
I know, and
he
he
lives
loves
just around the
I tell you
corner.
who else comes in and thinks he's going to get a free beer every time. Ronnie Burns comes in every time. Doesn't want to pay for it to go.
Rolling rock.
Brilliant. No, thank you so much, Bill. Great to see you.
Thanks, Bill.